welcome to the Ranger's Respite. I'm Philip, and this is Drinking Geek. Hey guys, of course, I've said a couple times that I'm going to try to focus on craft whiskey and Virginia craft whiskey in particular this year. And I said that I was going to work my way to having all Virginia whiskey up here, and I advanced to having two up here last week, and one of them won. Now, this whiskey, the write-up on the VA-ABC website looked promising, because, of course it does, they want to sell it. It's called Triple Deuce, whiskey distilled from wheat, small batch reserve. So, occasionally I like to use a label to, show some things. I think to start, I ought to show the label as clearly as I can. I like this label. I think that the wheat stalks around the 222 logo, which I think is fantastic. I like the origin of the name and the logo. I like the sort of old school simplicity of it. But there are some red flags. Whiskey distilled from wheat. Huh. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that for whatever reason, the TTB objected to it being called wheat whiskey. Now, the standards of identification for it to be called wheat whiskey are pretty simple. It's got to be made from a mash of no less than 51%, or at least 51% wheat. Has to be distilled at no more than 190 proof, or no more than 160 proof. Sorry, light whiskey is 190. I'll come back to that. Aged in a new charred oak barrel at no more than 125 proof, and bottled at no less than 80 proof. Let's look at the back label, because that might shed some light. Triple Deuce Whiskey. Rev up your engine with Triple Deuce Whiskey. Triple Deuce pays tribute to American muscle cars and the famed triple two-barrel carburetor setup known as a Triple Deuce. Crafted from wheat, Triple Deuce Whiskey is aged with oak to produce a smooth spirit that tastes great straight on ice or with your favorite mixer. Okay. With oak. Aged with oak. Interesting wording there. Is it deliberate wording, or is it typo, like on the filibuster label? Distilled and bottled by Blue Sky Distillery, Smithfield, Virginia. And then all the way at the bottom, 45% alcohol by volume, 750 milliliters, stored more than 1 day in reused cooperage. Huh. That's interesting. Sounds to me like they're doing something different aging-wise. It sounds like they're using refill barrels. They're not aging it for long. And they're aging it with chunks of oak in the barrels. That's just how I interpret that label. I could be wrong, but their website is next to useless because it doesn't even have that much information on it. So, let's look at some of the terms on the label that mean nothing. Whiskey distilled from wheat has meaning. It basically means that it's whiskey made. It meets the definition of whiskey, but not that of wheat whiskey. And small batch reserve means nothing. So some interestingness there. And let's see how well crafted it is. some of the people in the Whiskey Lodge and all of my Patreon and local Whiskey Club members got a sneak peek. Basically, I made a couple of comments in both of those places regarding this whiskey, so they know. Well, I poured a small amount for this one. On the nose, gasoline. Triple Deuce is a fitting name for this stuff because it smells like gasoline. Like gasoline and caramel. I like it's got an ethanol smell that like burns in the nose. And then it really does smell like gasoline. A little bit of vanilla. Or not vanilla, caramel. Not real caramel either, like the uh, caramel flavoring that they put in stuff. And like it's only 90 proof, and it burns like. I mean, it's got a. I know it's young, and I know it's definitely got coloring in it, because like even if you're doing something kind of crazy to get a lot of wood impact pretty quickly, you're not going to end up with color like that. I should talk about its price point, but no, putting it in my mouth a little bit longer. This bottle costs $27.99 before tax in the state of Virginia. It's probably the only place it's available. Oh boy. Oh, oh, it clings. It's got a really aggressive, spiky mouthfeel, like it's very young, which I'm guessing it is. And it tastes exactly how it smells. Like if you ever walked by a gas station or next to a gas can that's spilled or something, and you can smell the gasoline so strongly you can feel it in your mouth. That's what it tastes like. But with that artificial, disgusting caramel color. Ugh. You know what it kind of reminds me of? This stuff. Canadian Cold Classic Gulp. You know what the difference between this and this is? This has all of the edges knocked off and rounded over. And this is still super aggressive. Oh, jeez. Like, I think they take it out of whatever cooperage they were using and just proofed it down to 90 with distiller's caramel. Like the coloring. To give you an idea of how long the finish on this is, I can still taste it. It clings like it's real oily, and it's sort of a petrochemical rubber taste, but not in a good way. It is so weird. I say support craft whiskey, um, and even if they're not making something good, it's likely because they're using young stock. I think this is a rare example of a distillery not even really trying. It is a distillery who's decided they gotta put something out. And this is what they've chosen to do. can still taste it. This stuff is terrible. It's probably going to hang around on my shelf for quite a while. Because I gave myself a healthy pour. It was up to about here before. I gave myself a good standard pour to get my notes down for it. And boy, howdy did I regret that. I ended up pouring Coke into the Glencairn after a couple sips to get my notes down to see if that would cover it up and bury it enough. I mean, I'm talking, probably had about that much left. Filled it up to about there with the Coke, and it wouldn't go away. It made the Coke nearly undrinkable. It is bad. I can't even like. I'm not entirely convinced that this is safe for human consumption because it tastes awful and chemically, and I don't like it. Um, I'm sure somebody out there does. Somebody who spends a lot of time immersed in gasoline fumes, I guess, might enjoy it. I don't. So it's going on a pretty low shelf where it won't be in the way. Now, let's look forward to next week's review, which is going to be either Jim Beam Rye Reservoir Bourbon that is 2019 Batch 3 Bottle 91. Virginia Distillery Company Virginia Highland Whiskey Port Cask Finished Whiskey or Canadian Club Classic 12-year-old. If you want to vote, all you have to do is join my Patreon. It's $1 a month. You get to vote for what I review. You get exclusive content. You get content early. You get to have a say in what I do for cocktail videos. And to some extent on Monday shows. You get access to the Drinking Geeks Discord server where you can talk to myself and other members of my local whiskey club about whiskey, D&D, other nerdy things. If you still want to support my channel, but you're not a fan of Patreon or you'd prefer to make a one-time payment, I have a copy. I also sell That's the Spirit pot still stickers designed by my friend Alyssa at Abercat Studios. They're great, adorable little stickers. Are $3 a piece. Proceeds go to continuing this show. Working my way through the finish on this whiskey, and I'm not enjoying it. If you want to see me review something in particular, like really want me to review something that you like, or you've got a cocktail that you really want me to do, or you just want to support the channel in another way, you can sponsor an episode. All you gotta do is drop me a line at the email in the description down below, and we'll work something out. So, until next time, stay happy, stay geeks. I'm not lifting this glass again. So, stay happy, stay geeks. Sláinte.